Can men get pregnant? Is it possible? Yes.
And that's it, boys. Segment's over. Congratulations, we did it. That was the shortest Ben Shapiro review we've ever needed to do.
Hello, this is Ben Shapiro, and you are now watching Bosch. Amazing.
Insane. Viral video shows trans activist harassing Sonic employee. Did I just see this right here at the front of my YouTube recommended page? Yes, I did. Let's go.
There's no way out but through for the Democrats, and that is they just have to keep talking. They have to keep talking. They have to fill the airwaves, and they have to prevent anybody from speaking back against them. Okay, this is true.
What the demonetization. What the heck does that even mean? What is the what does that mean? What does left-leaning people talking have to do with? I don't know. Is this metaphorical? What was the point of that?
In the area of fiscal responsibility is also true in the area of science. It is just a continuing incredible thing to me how the scientific establishment has been completely perverted by a desire for social justice nonsense. It's insane. So yesterday, there was a meme that was going around. It wasn't.
By the way, this is also what conservatives said when the phrenology and skull shape theory was dropped out of science, you know? When unironically, when the idea that the races were different because of their skulls, or the idea that there were these huge scientific gaps between the races, when they started to be more debunked and criticized, people like Ben Shapiro, well, I'm sorry, I would never imply that Ben Shapiro is a racist. People who just so happened to believe in all the same stuff Ben Shapiro believed just a couple decades earlier got really mad and said that, you know, the scientific establishment used to mean something, but it was just kowtowing to the tyranny of social justice or progressivism or Marxism or whatever the fuck else they called it. They said the same stuff about homosexuality no longer being considered a mental disorder as well, by the way.
Even a meme. It was a thing from Healthline, right? Healthline is a medical website. And here's what Healthline is now saying, is under parenthood at pregnancy. Can men get pregnant? Is it possible? Yes.
And that's it, boys. Segment's over. Congratulations, we did it. That was the shortest Ben Shapiro review we've ever needed to do. He's gonna do the sex gender thing again. Ben, for the umpteenth trillionth fucking time, by men here, they're referring to trans men. And since they don't think gender and sex are the same thing, because they're not, there's no contradiction here. It's actually very straightforward.
According to Healthline, it's possible for men to become pregnant and give birth to children of their own. In fact, it's probably a lot more common than you might think. In order to explain, we'll need to break down some common misconceptions about how we understand the term man.
Okay.
No, we don't. I mean,
okay, I guess that just sums it up right there, doesn't it? Yeah, actually, this isn't contradictory at all if you just understand how gender works. I don't want to learn. Okay.
The misconception that's been held by all of humanity since the dawn of time, because
That's a fallacious... First of all, humanity from the dawn of time did not have our modern conception of gender. There are tons of cultures, modern and millennia old, that do not have the gender binary. So that's completely made up. Second of all, that is literally an appeal to nature and an appeal to tradition wrapped up both in the same time.
Species is a sexually dichotomous species. That is the basis for all human reproduction.
Sex, yeah, but not gender.
I mean, if men can get pregnant, I will say that the birthing process via the urethra is going to be extraordinarily painful.
So this is actually Ben Shapiro being deliberately obtuse. He knows the argument that is being made right now. He doesn't actually think that they're referring to people being born out of urethras with a baby gestating inside of a testicle or whatever. The main issue is that Ben Shapiro doesn't actually have any real arguments against the contents of the article, because he has to pretend that gender and sex mean the same thing, and he has to pretend everyone else believes that as well, because if he doesn't, he has to confront really nuanced arguments in favor of those being different things. You understand? He has to pretend that this is why TERFs will do this as well. This is why TERFs will also say that trans people don't believe in biological sex, which, yeah, they do. They, all do. You know? They say that because to acknowledge that there are alternate positions out there to believe in is to give their audience room to learn more.
You think it's bad through the vaginal canal? Try it through the urethra.
That would hurt.
No, men cannot get pregnant, but our scientific experts are now telling us so. The only way that you can promote garbage is, again, to hold an informational monopoly. That is the only way that you can do it.
God, my dude, the reason people on the left have an informational monopoly on the sciences is because nobody on the right goes to college. You went to college and bragged about how you didn't learn a single thing there. You're anti-education. No shit, we have a fucking monopoly on, like, academia. If you fucking take college classes, you join the left. There's a reason why you're not in academia, not in intelligentsia.
And that's how you end up with this insane situation with Sonic. So there's this insane story that made the rounds yesterday. Again, this just demonstrates, it demonstrates at full scale how crazy our society has become. There is a recent viral video of a trans woman in a heated conversation with a Sonic employee, and it sparked a debate about gender.
Oh, Sonic like the food. Oh, I'm a fucking idiot. Okay. All right. Okay.
Identity and transphobia. Here is the video.
Dude, Sonic, what is it? They're cinnamon sticks? That shit slaps. I've had it like once. That shit slaps so hard. The pretzel and the cinnamon sticks. Oh God, those are so fucking good.
And then Sonic said they would investigate because everyone is a damned coward. Here is the video.
Let's go.
But your entire staff has been calling me sir the entire time.
Okay.
What about me looks like a sir right now?
If them call you a sir, I don't know what they did then.
Because they saw the name on my credit card and they were not being nice people.
Well, I mean, that's all your name on the credit card. What do you want them to tell you?
But that has nothing to do with it. There could be someone in the back that they don't see that's paying.
Okay, ma'am.
So why would they intentionally do that? Can you tell me what your location has done to be trans competent? Because
all right. Yeah, it's yeah. You know, folks, one of the nicest things about trans people is that they're people, which means that you know, sometimes you're just not going to get the best vertically filmed videos. That's just a part of being a person, you know?
clearly they are not.
Okay, so the entire video is about a person.
They clipped out the part where she shows herself on camera. Wouldn't they want to clip that in? Because usually the physical appearance of trans women is used as a bludgeon against them. Or wait, was she like fucking passing and gorgeous or something? So it's like, wait, if that's the case, if they actually avoided that because they didn't want her to look like an avatar of femininity, I don't know if that's actually it. You guys are inferring that. She wasn't Vosh? Yeah, okay, I don't know. If that is the case, though, that's pretty funny.
Was complaining.
Would she have that kind of confidence if she wasn't passing? Raiders. Sometimes confidence comes from within. Oftentimes it does, even.
Because this person's credit card apparently has a male name on it, and people called the person sir. And then this person got angry. Okay. So Torres says, I demand to be given respect when it comes to my gender identity. I refuse to let a cisgender heteronormative world dominate my existence.
Where was that said? Are we paraphrasing? Was that said?
And any other trans person fighting for trans liberation is doing so to make the
like
world a more inclusive and equitable world for us. As my friend Lola famously said, we aren't working with a broken system. We're working with a system that was never in place for trans and gender expansive humans. I don't want the Sonic manager fired. That would do no good. He would be transphobic the next place he works. He deserves the chance to leave.
Wait, did the manager say anything? Okay, look, I'm super pro-trans and everything, but I feel like this right here, this context, is not one in which you can expect, like, hyper-perfect progressive responses from the manager. So is this just like... so it's possible some really bad shit happened and the camera only came out after, you know? It's possible that, it's possible that, like, a lot of stuff wasn't, like, put in. Okay, gotcha, Fink, bro.
I want all businesses to hire trans-led organizations to teach their employees how to respect all humans. So Sonic immediately looked into this and started thinking about whether they ought to fire this person for the great crime of pointing out that perhaps the employees were terming this person sir because the person's credit card had a male name on it.
So do you want to guess, by the way, that Sonic literally just said, we'll look into it and nobody's been fired and nothing is happening? Like, so Ben is speculating like crazy. Ben's like, yeah, Sonic's gonna fire them because the woke mob is gonna get him fired. Like, yeah, I don't know. This is something? Let me see. All right, here we go. Holy Christ, that ratio. 86 likes to 3.1 thousand comments. My God. Oh, geez. Oh, I saw this on Twitter the other day, so this is what that was about. 1.1 million views and countless trans people commenting confirming this is discrimination and transphobia, and not one word from Sonic. All I want is them to hire a trans-led org to train every single employee on how to properly affirm us. Okay. Alright. Okay. Alright. Okay. And then Sonic says, we have a very strict anti-discrimination policy and take this very seriously. We launched an immediate investigation of the incident. We've reached out to you via TikTok to gather more info and need to complete the investigation. Please feel free to DM us here. There's nothing wrong with this. This is totally fine. This is literally like the default response that you would give. We'll launch an investigation. Give us more info if you can. Yeah. If scroll down. What to what? Yeah, there's transphobia. Yeah, or whatever. I don't know. Yeah. Okay, it's fine. Was there any context in the video left out?
Why does it matter?
Oh, it doesn't matter to you. But to me, I'm a male. Okay?
Okay.
So, what are you? So I can call you sir or ma'am. What are you?
What would you assume looking at me?
What are you?
What would you assume looking at me?
I assume that you're a man. Okay? Okay?
Thank you. Whatever. Why does it matter?
Oh, it doesn't matter to you.
Wait. Wait, was this left in the Ben Shapiro thing, or was that bit? I don't remember that being in the part that Ben Shapiro chose to present. That's interesting. That wasn't in the clip that he showed. He cut it out. Yeah, probably because this part does look a lot worse. Okay, so I'm going to be charitable here and incite the hatred of my audience, and I'm simply going to say that I think that his behavior right here could legitimately be the product of overwhelming cluelessness, because nothing that he's saying actually comes off malicious, but the cluelessness trends towards transphobia. Like, this comes off to me like it probably is transphobic, but it could also be just overwhelming cluelessness. I don't know where this is or like what this is, but we have to remember that outside of our internet bubble, there are a lot of people who legitimately just have no fucking idea about any of this shit, you know what I mean? The "to me I'm a man" thing goes a little over the line. This person might legitimately not understand like what trans people are, you know? That's a real thing, by the way. Like that's an actual thing that happens. Some people aren't on the internet that much, and apart from that, you know, but she doesn't really look like a man. Okay, wait, hold on. Oh no. So wait, point by point, just to talk about this, okay? Vosh, this is dumb. No, it's really, really important to understand this at a normative perspective, okay? Now, I'm not saying this guy isn't transphobic. I'm only saying that the way he behaved could potentially be explained by overwhelming ignorance. If you disagree with that, by the way, you're objectively wrong, okay? If you disagree with that, then you need to go outside and just, like, breathe in some air, okay? That is absolutely a correct position. Could it be transphobia? Absolutely! It could be transphobia. I have never taken away that possibility. But the way in which it's being expressed does come off to me like it could also be overwhelming ignorance, you know? Yeah, I didn't learn about trans people for, like, a good portion of my life. Yeah, this is also, like, pretty poorly handled because, as I understand it, she never said what her gender was, right? She was like, assume my gender, and he assumed wrong? Like, he doesn't, like, what if, he might not know what the difference is between a trans person and a cross-dresser. You know what I mean? Like, it's difficult for me to infer because the woman here, the trans woman, is providing no information that he steps against. She only asks him what his assumption is, and he answers. And the answer sucks, don't get me wrong, but if the answer is purely a product of ignorance, then 100% Tagalog doesn't have gendered language. The Filipino ladies at my job had no idea why everyone was saying she, her to me. Not because they didn't see me as a woman. They had no problem with me in the bathroom chilling. They literally just didn't realize. Yeah, yeah. I'm also willing to bet this isn't his native language. Yeah, I don't want to, like, say this guy might have just come up here from Mexico because this is Texas and this guy's, like speaking with an accent or something. I have no idea, but, like, there are tons of conditions that, Yeah. It's hard to say. I think this is also like being like, I don't know, her asking him to assume her gender is kind of fucked, right? Because like that isn't that like doesn't that put you in like a really like fucked position? You know what I mean? Like what if you legitimately like just don't have like what if you don't know? You know what I mean? Before I knew that trans people existed, I might have answered the way that he does, you know? Because I didn't know that like any kind of gender performance or any kind of gender identity could exist outside of like biological markers for sex. If you don't know the difference between gender and sex, don't know about trans people, don't know any of the cultural signifiers surrounding trans people, there are mistakes that can be made. But it could just be transphobia. I'm only saying maybe an investigation here would be a little good, but like maybe have a little chit chat, a little bit, maybe. His response was still bad. That I agree with. Yeah, for sure. I don't know, Vosh. This seems overly charitable to him in the US in 2020. Sorry. You say as an internet user. What city do you live in, Pomegranate? Do you live in a large city with a 6-digit or higher population? I've driven around the deep south, man, and I have seen sights you could not believe. I have driven down dusty roads in Alabama, and I have perceived things that your brain could not fathom. Okay? There are so many Americas in America. They said 2020, by the way. Well, I don't know. He literally asked what she wanted to be called. Yeah, I mean, he asked what she wanted to be called, right? If she had just said, "Could you refer to me as a woman?" Wouldn't he have said yeah? Because he asked. Like, I doubt he would have asked, like, "What do you want to be called?" And she's like, "Oh, I'm a woman." He's like, "Haha, no. Nah, loser." Like, probably not, right? He probably would have. I think he just responded poorly to her trying to, like, bait out. And she's got her phone out. He's got his phone out, probably because he pulled it out after she pulled it out, because he knows that she could get fun. Oh, it's so difficult. I don't know. This got mishandled, man. I don't know. Boss, you live as a trans person in the rural Midwest. You'd be right about this. If he hadn't led with, "Look, what do you want them to do? I know I'm a man. You, that shit is sus." I don't know, man. If I like in his position, he could have been super fucking bewildered. Guys. I'm sorry. I'm trying not to phrase this poorly. I'm not saying this isn't transphobia. I'm saying I think that the behavior here leaves room for genuine ignorance. And as long as that room exists, I'm uncomfortable just performatively like dogging on him. You know what I mean? It is possible to me that there is a charitable explanation. So for that reason, I support Sonic drive-through in their investigation. If they find any like evidence of bigotry or whatever. Vosh, why are you being so charitable to this guy? This is such a simple situation to understand. If she didn't want to be called sir, then she wanted to be called something else. No, you can't infer that, dude. Have you... Okay, I'm gonna pull out my LA card. Have you ever talked to an immigrant? Have you ever talked to, like, somebody who came in, like, to the country a few years ago? There is so much cultural disconnect. It's, like, unimaginable. The idea... I do not take... I do not assume... When I see people on the internet be, like, ignorantly transphobic, I tend to be a lot more uncharitable because you're on the internet. This dude might literally just play, like, Facebook Boggle. I have no idea. I have no clue. Vosh, I'm a trans man who literally wears dresses. I don't want people to assume I'm a woman just because I'm wearing a dress. You're right. Yeah. Please clarify to chat that he wasn't calling her the he wasn't against calling her the gender she wanted. He simply answered the question she asked honestly. Yeah. Like, you guys realize the idea that sex and gender are the same thing is pretty common, right? So guys, if in this guy's head, sex and gender are the same thing, then by her asking, "What do you see?" if he's answering completely honestly, which I don't know what else you're supposed to do in this situation, what you're essentially asking is, does she pass perfectly? I'm trying to be, like, polite about this, but you guys know that, right? If he believes sex and gender are the same thing innocently because he's never heard any other thing, the question, "What do I look like to you?" is essentially, do I pass perfectly? And I feel like that line of questioning is just going to bring about bad outcomes in a lot of situations, you know? Why are we presuming he's innocent? We're not! We're not presuming! We're not presuming! We're not presuming! We're not presuming anything. I'm only... Okay, yeah, I think I've made my point. Let's finish the Ben Shapiro video. You have a very online chat. It's literally online chat as opposed to offline chat, yeah. I'm not assuming. He could... Guys, it's more likely than not he's just transphobic. I just think there's a possibility, because 425,000 likes? I don't know.
I mean, it's unbelievable. Okay, and at one point, the employee asks, so what are you? Can I call you sir or ma'am? And Torres says, what would you assume looking at me? And the Sonic employee answers, I assume you're a man. And that's when Torres turned the camera to face himself, displaying pink lipstick, long hair, and cat eye frames, and said, thank you, whatever, and drove away. Okay, well, if you ask somebody whether they appear to be a man or a woman, and then they give you an honest answer, that is not transphobia if you are a man. I'm sorry, it isn't. You're a biological...
It's incredible. I don't want anyone making any comparisons between my position and this one because they're not even remotely the same. My argument is, it is possible this might not be motivated by transphobia if that person thought sex and gender was the same thing and simply had no understanding of trans people. And Ben's is that trans woman was stupid because actually she was a man. So, see, Ben's argument is the guy was right. It's a very, very different perspective on this matter. And I do not want any comparisons being drawn, okay? Because I know you fuckers are going to do it. Some of you, at least 20 people watching right now are like, didn't Vosh say that? Shut up. Fuck you.
Man. But again, the only way that you can promote this sort of crap and then you can do it to corporations and then you can do it to the entire society is by essentially monopolizing the conversation. I keep focusing on that because it's so important. The monopoly on the conversation is everything to the left. If they lose the monopoly on conversation, they lose the conversation. They know it. We all know it. That's what's behind the Facebook crackdown.
Yeah, dude, that's the reason why your cultural issues lose more and more every single year. Every single year, Americans find your positions less and less appealing. It's actually because of... It's not because everyone hates your positions. It's actually because of some... It's because we keep talking or something so that you can't talk, because that's how things work. Look, okay, the only thing I'm going to say at the outset of this is that, okay, huge disclaimer, I'm a cis guy. However, if you're trans and you're confronting a difficult situation with regards to transphobia or perceived transphobia or anything like that, I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with recording. I think there are ways to do that in ways that can protect yourself, or sometimes you really can shine a light on really bad behavior. But I think it's really important to be as forthcoming as possible because that leaves no room for error on the other person's part. So, for instance, you know, when the guy asks, well, what do you want to be called? The correct answer there is, a woman, please, go by she, her. Because then, if he says anything disagreeing with that after the fact, then you've got a very direct and immediate accusation of transphobia that's about as unambiguous as you're going to get. Whereas if you play this, well, what do I look like to you game? Well, hold on there. Like, does how feminine you look, should that be the determiner of how much that guy should respect your desire to be referred to as a woman? What if that woman was, like, in boy mode or whatever? Or, like, totally pre-presentational transition, like that? Yeah, like, does that mean they're less, like, right in doing so? Like, yeah, I don't know. You should go for approaches to defend yourself that rely on fuck, man, especially since she was so ready to turn the camera towards her. I was wondering if she was trying to do that gotcha. She wanted him to say no so she could have that glow out moment. You know what I mean? Like, look at how crazy he is, look at how I look. I don't know. It just seems like a serious mishandling of the situation. Yeah, like a bait, you know? She was directing it towards that end. Even if she's, like, shitty, like that was some deliberate thing, like, oh, sorry. Even if she's shitty and it was, like, some deliberate thing, which I'm not saying it was necessarily, but even if it was, that doesn't change the math as to whether or not the guy may have potentially been transphobic.